I think one that we can start off is AI in biotech. And if you remember, last time we talked in Vienna, actually, by Europe, I watched the video and we talked already quite a lot about AI in biotech. And that was 2019, and I will link to the video. And what's amazing is that you/Evotec have been in advance on that topic quite a lot, especially in the biotech industry. It tends to lag quite a lot into IT and software. But obviously now, I mean, ChatGPT, DeepMind, AlphaFold, I mean, in the last 6 months, it's crazy what happened. So I was just wondering, like, if you can dig into it, let's say from 2019 to now, and how you integrated, let's say, the last big developments.
So first of all, thank you for recognizing us as a true leader when it comes to AI and machine learning in our industry. Why do I say this? Because we have always understood AI and machine learning as an integrated part of a new normal when it comes to drug discovery and drug development. Because a tool in itself has no value. But a tool, when it makes outputs better, has enormous value. And that's why we have decided already in 2017, 18, when we saw the first processes arriving out of machine learning and AI, that it has to be an integrated part of our drug discovery and drug development thinking and not an isolated software-driven offering. And today I would say that every process is driven more than ever before by cost pressure and efficiency to come to drugs faster and with this more cost efficient. And that's what AI and machine learning effectively does, that you can accelerate an experimental cascade to a wet lab experiment with the AI and machine learning tools, significantly faster. And that's again where I'm coming to the integrated approach of this, because isolated doesn't make sense.
And the significantly, how much are we talking about? Because I mean, is it, 10%, 30%, 50% to 100%?
No.
Depends on which approach, I guess, but like if
it really covers 3 dimensions. It covers quality of the experiments that you're doing, it covers costs, and it covers timelines. But it's important that it covers all 3 dimensions. And if you take it, and this would only be a marginal help, it wouldn't help anyone. But I'm so convinced about this because it's a substantial help to make drugs more precise and faster. And that's why I think some of the experiments are only possible now. So it's not a question of make something 5% or 10 or 20% better. It's only possible because we can accelerate and analyze so much more data. And the other thing is it will have a huge acceleration aspect when it comes to, for example, prioritizing experiments. And that's why I would say a minimum of efficiency gain is north of 30% that you see by just implementing these tools.
That's huge. I mean, especially
it's huge when you know that a drug in its development is 2 billion, and if you take 30% out of 2 billion, and if you take 30% of more than 12 to 14 years at this stage, then it's really reaching all these dimensions where at the end it will have true impact on costs for patients.
That's amazing. I'm curious about this integrated aspect as well. I mean, so if I summarize, instead of saying, okay, it's like you have the software division or like the software silo, the software is actually horizontal and spread across every different divisions. And then what I would be curious about this is how you do the development / the integration of tools, because I guess you don't do all the AI machine learning models necessarily yourself. There's probably some blocks that you take into. Can you go a bit over there? And I mean, and there is a huge complexity there as well, and it's a different job. I mean, probably OpenAI. It's crazy number of engineers as well. So can you just go there, like how you do the development, how you integrate it, all these aspects? I'm curious.
I mean, very often we think that in biotech we have to reinvent every process where the tech industry has already been sometimes 3 to 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And if you look today at the AI machine learning tools that tech companies have integrated into their search engines, into their optimization algorithms, then you can imagine that we don't have to reinvent everything. We can really accelerate our learning by learning here from many of the tech industries. Having said that, our world is significantly more complex because biology is a totally different dimension of complexity, and optimizing chemistry is a totally different dimension of complexity. But message number one is we don't have to reinvent all of this. We can learn what the integration means from others. Message number two is when you are building experimental cascades, it's always a very rigorous, standardized process that you go from a target that you have identified to optimize a target. And in optimization of a target, if you can do this with an integrated algorithm and you can prioritize, for example, 10 targets in 10 dimensions via an algorithm, all of a sudden a lot of manual work falls completely away because you just will not work on the 9th priority. You will only work on the top 3 priorities. And that's, I think, how you should imagine how this works. And it's really optimizing these bottleneck processes that were up to now significantly higher manually done than what we will do in the future.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you were talking already 2019 that it's not about replacing Evotec scientists or Evotec staff, it's about augmenting them and allowing them to do many more experiments. How did that change between 2019 and now?
I mean, in total, in 2019, we were probably 3,600, 2,700 scientists in the company. Now we are close to 5,000 scientists in the company. And despite that there is a tough funding environment for biotech, we are recruiting this year quite heavily. And it's especially these processes that we are augmenting, where we see, for example, in a massive effort when it comes to data aggregation and data analysis, bringing here a platform together it just doesn't exist on the planet. And that's why, for example, a tool that we have developed called PanHunter will be super important for the whole industry once we have fully rolled it out, because then people can just understand way, way, way faster where does their molecule sit in the whole universe of data analysis that they can access.